Welcome back. It's time for some North American action. We have Immortals versus Luminosity coming up, and Luminosity, they are the team on the up. Recently, they've had some great results. They had a near miss, of course, against SK, a matchup they probably should have taken, actually. SK made a lot of mistakes on Cobble. That's that map, at least. But then moving in against Liquid, obviously taking advantage, perhaps, of a Liquid that's not at their full strength at the moment. They were able to do an amazing job and take both maps just very recently. So Immortals, despite their LAN win, this will be, and their confidence from that, this is going to be no easy task. And we start on Luminosity's map.
Yeah, but also this is, again, it's another, we've had a lot of domestic matchups, and it's another one. Luminosity versus Immortals, Brazil versus Brazil. But Nuke, a domestic matchup on Nuke, cannot know what to expect from that. I think if it was like Envy versus G2, then it doesn't matter what the map is. It's going to be absolute madness. But I wouldn't expect that to be the case on this occasion.
I feel like this will be more normal, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah, I would say so. I think these will still be quite strat-heavy teams, which is always good to see. Nuke, again, as Janko said, haven't really seen much of these teams play on Nuke, so have no expectations, can't really offer anything. Not going to do that for the sake of it, so we'll just have to wait and see what actually happens.
I mean, I feel like, personally, Luminosity are showing, at least I feel like this is what I've seen, that they are a team that does want to get a bit more tactical, that they do want to get a little bit more complicated. Whereas I feel like Immortals, I've seen them play Nuke before, and it did seem like kind of basic, but basic can work as well. So if that ends up being the clash, it's going to be an interesting clash, because it's often also going to come off, it's also going to come down to whether the likes of, Henny or Hen1, I feel like there's no consensus here still. Henny or Hen1, Henny sounds better.
I'm pretty sure it's Hen1.
Because I spoke to some Brazilians. Some Brazilians popped on my personal stream, and some of them were like, they were talking about all the different names, and they said it sounds better.
What, Henny?
So, yeah.
Clearly it does, yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably supposed to be Hen1, but Henny sounds better. So I don't think anyone really minds too much, whatever. Pits around, time, and it's an upper rush.
Indeed, it is. The T's charging in. The CTs, though, getting that first kill onto Yale. They've got a high and a low ground, and a player behind the smoke in main. 3 headshots for the T side. All of a sudden, we've got some P250s in play as well. Smoke shots. That's a fast shock and awe pistol round. I like it. That in itself is simple. Run through and kill people, and it works. I wish I'd paid attention to how many P250s. I'm always happy when I see P250s on a T side and pistol round, because it essentially doubles the range of one-shots to the face in a pistol round. That.
Yep. Well, in that round, maybe they didn't choose minis because they had the upper rush going for them. Didn't have to deal with those ranges, perhaps, as much. But now it's time for Immortals to get some pickoffs. They've got the Deagles and the Kevlars. They've forced sport. They've invested everything. And your CT economy is much easier to manage on this map than other maps. But you always want to get a good start on that economy. And we can see a 2-smoke wall on the outside area. Felps, the man watching Secret and watching the passage of Luminosity, should they choose to move through the smoke onto Secret, or maybe they double back. Oh man, it's a nice pick-off and all the information as well.
Indeed. I do wonder if they're missing a grenade. They've got some Molotovs. Maybe the HE would be useful down the stairs, something to add to the repertoire later. Phelps has got a very good opportunity to get a second kill here. He has full armor as well, let's not forget. Oh, man! And they were lining up. That could have been even worse for the Luminosity side. This is quite a struggle of an anti-eco. Destiny's vulnerable as well. Should Immortals choose to push at the right place at the right time?
Oh, man. What is this?
That is... that's not helpful, is it? It's not helpful. So boltz has put himself in a full position. This angle might not be checked by Destiny, but it will be. Sometimes people can slack on the tightest of tight angles, and that can be the fatal mistake. So now it's a 3 versus 3, though. Luminosity, the clock is ticking against them. 25 seconds left on the clock, and you have to be worried right now if you're a Luminosity fan. There's one player down, but there's a player on the vent right next to him. Not emerging just yet. There he goes. And now things may look safe for Luminosity, providing they plant in the right spot. Henny, though, too far away to do anything about this plant.
Yeah, it's a pretty sad tale for Immortals, getting kind of, well, again, starting off poorly like this. Almost made it happen, though. Almost made it happen, but not quite. And Luminosity, I'm really curious, because, again, it's their map pick. If you're going to see a team thrive on their map pick, it's often going to be about their T side. If it's really truly a home map for them, it's often going to be about the fact that they like how they can control space, how they can use tactics to kind of dictate the pace and run their set pieces and so on. They have certain ways they want to play those 5 versus 4s or those 4 versus 5s and so on and so forth. So generally quite curious in their approach. And I want to see some really elaborate upper takes because we're not seeing enough of that so far on Nuke, in my opinion.
Maybe this is the round, or maybe they'll save it for a later round. Very early days. No need to bring out the kitchen sink just yet, as Immortals are still on the Eco. Henny on the Galil, not going to spend any money around that, be it armor. That's normally what you would buy. If you wanted to buy something around a gun. He is expecting failure in this round and will try to get some damage. So many angles to be played on the outside by the CTs. Yell on the high ground there. Oh dear, what? 3 kills like that? felps? And there's a Gillen in play. Oh my god, Dan! How'd you get 2 digs like that? 3!
felps is pretty monstrous. We saw also some pistol shenanigans from him with the CZ in the previous round, and he continues to cause problems. That 3K has sent shockwaves to Luminosity. You're down to 2 men now, looking for something, but very intelligently, Immortals not overplaying their hand. Another one from felps, looking for the pistol ace. Oh, and he gets it as well. felps, all 5 kills, Deagle headshots all the way. Unreal stuff from felps. What a statement to send. If Luminosity have the strategy and the tactics, doesn't matter. Does not matter when you've got a player like felps going off with a Deagle.
I told you Immortals are going to win. I didn't actually tell you that, Dan. Why aren't you disagreeing with me? Never mind. felps now, he's upgraded to an AK. Let's see what he can do with that. That is a very rare round. A very rare round, and it has completely wiped the money out from Luminosity. Forced on the Eco immediately. 2,000 though in the bank per person. They'll be on the buy next round. Again, creeping through, but Immortals have gone from rags to riches. AWP coming out for Hen 1. felps, if only he knew. If only he knew. But he's looking for the element of surprise should somebody push through the smoke as the priority there, and will not reveal his position with a spray. Luminosity into secret once again. They've got the close ranges now for the most part with these Tech 9s, and I am scared for felps in this position. He's moving forward as well. Maybe not the best idea. Just 1 kill, definitely not worth it.
Yeah, anyone missing his first shot there towards Ramp. I think we have problems here. Reverse the situation? No, looks like there's no reverse. It looks like the natural course of action. The CTs, or rather the team with the better guns, with the better chance to take the round, will be the ones to claim it. This time, no shenanigans. Maybe only felps is capable of quite something like that on the server at the moment. Pretty unbelievable. And Luminosity, the thing is that you could, at least for them, the bright side is that they can't even be mad about that, because there's nothing you can do when that happens. Sometimes that just happens. It's not, you didn't really play wrong. Some guy just shot you in the head with the Deagle and you die immediately. Then there's nothing you can do. So there's that. But now they had the buy again. They got the utility. How do they want to play the round? The wall of smokes is an expensive ask at the start of the round. And is that what they're going to go with once again? So we have a triple smokes hit. Luminosity losing Destiny towards the radio room, but Luminosity take control of the outer catwalk.
This is going to really compromise the potential positioning of the Immortal side. Even main may be an issue for them now. Still forced to hide in the hut. Got his teammate heading his way as well, and now they're coming in from both directions. The knife not going to be too far away. Just a man advantage though for Luminosity. Awkward positioning inside for the CT side, but now they have boltz and Lucas remaining. They need a nice pick off here. There's a gamble for Lucas to take. He has no flashes, just a smoke, and that's pretty much the end of the round. boltz though, 5,900 in the bank, and oh no, he does need to hold on to his gun. 3 of the players on his side, just over $2,000. So if he can hold on to this, then maybe they can go for a buy in the next round. But if he doesn't, it may be the difference between a buy and an eco. You can see Lucas there with $4,600 in the bank.
I love this round from Luminosity. It's the kind of stuff that I was expecting from them. You see basically like a variation, I suppose, of a split onto the upper bomb site. The old school splits, it was, the original split, right, on Nuke, before you could run on the outer catwalk like we saw, is the split from main and from Squeaky and Hut, usually, or, Hut and main. That would be the typical A split. There we saw an A split using players on the outer catwalk, which is really interesting because, again, as you said, if you have a setup for taking out a catwalk, it pressures the CTs into really awkward positions because the upper positions are compromised. And once they actually get through to heaven, you have a lot of problems when the split comes in. So if Luminosity can keep throwing plays like that at Immortals, despite Immortals having, just flaring up with beautiful individual plays like we saw from felps, they need more than that. They can't just rely on that.
I don't know why felps went for the push through Squeaky at the end. I mean, the money isn't spectacular, like in the whole for the Luminosity side, but maybe his own team's money was a bigger priority in that situation. You saw Henry's angle towards Secret. May protect him somewhat from grenades, should they go in that direction. PKL has just deployed a smoke outside, which I'm sure will be joined by another smoke. But this time, the focus from Luminosity appears to be the ramp. boltz positioning himself maybe to go towards Hell, so he can go outside if need be. And that may make the ramp even weaker for Immortals.
Nicely timed HE coming in. That's some good damage onto Yell. boltz loses the one-on-one though. Gets some damage in, but that's not really the problem here for Immortals. Damaging players, they need the frags at this point. We have the attack onto the lower sites. And Hen1 will take control of the control room. Just for the moment with the FAMAS. Luminosity slowing their pace somewhat. Looks like SHOOWTiME, who was going to be on the flank there, is actually going to be lost. So Luminosity don't have the positioning to really do this effectively.
Oh, if Henny opened the door there, but maybe it was a bait, so he's not going to risk it. Window has been created in door number 2. 3 doors now into the Nuke B bomb site. PKL standing underneath the rafters. SHZ got his back covered, but there goes PKL. And SHZ can't do the rest. Instant defuse coming in, but I mean, Lucas could delay that and pick up an AK. We'll see if there's anything for him. Henny picks up the AWP, and then Lucas will collect the AK. So all good. They've collected as much as they could. 3-3. Score is tied up, and maybe that attempted... I don't think boltz actually killed anyone when he pushed through the squeaky door, but I don't know, would have made the economy even worse for the Luminosity side. Personally, though, I still think he should have just held on to his weapon. Luminosity now down to the pistols with a few flashes and a few smokes.
Yeah, and you probably imagine that they have something in mind for rounds like this. Again, from the stuff that we've seen, I mean, the last round as well, they had an elaborate plan, which is, again, something I was saying on the desk that I was expecting to see from them. Having the late flanker and so on, he was really the main player who had to get control or pressure onto the control room. Didn't work out, though, as you kind of put all your chips on that one man making it through. Looks like SHOOWTiME couldn't make it through the Molotov of Steel there, and this play's been dismantled. Looks like Luminosity couldn't really get it working, trying to play into the upper bomb site with a bit of a split.
They did have a nice play actually on our observer machine. They did the wall of smokes outside and then did a pop flash through the wall of smokes to make their way into main. But then one person went towards Hell instead, maybe because his teammate went down in main. Didn't work out, but the idea was there indeed, Dan. So that's always good to see. If the idea's there, then things will be very promising. Destiny bringing out the P90. Just one player without a helmet, which is Hen1. So considering Hen1 is on the AWP, Destiny might be lucky to get close enough for a kill. Although it doesn't always need the headshot, but definitely helps.
Luminosity have turned from a team where I didn't expect to see much to a team where I'm excited to see what they can bring that's new to the table. And that's a nice opening shot from SHOOWTiME. felps is sitting behind the smoke. There's not too much he can do here unless he goes for pot shots. But if he does that without a silencer, he's going to give his position away. And he does open himself up for some return fire, which could be deadly. So he's just going to be the guy listening in Garage. He has the opportunity to flank. Lucas needs to be able to stop this, but that's a beautiful smoke. Sometimes you see CT smoking that, not realizing that it helps the T's get control of the control room. That's exactly what Luminosity have done with the smoke. Although individual play comes out from Lucas to take down Yell, but the bomb is still very likely going down.
boltz is top off the ramp. Was going to throw a nade through, but he didn't want to reveal his position. He can't stop the bomb from going down, but the timing, PKL will... Oh, no, it's SHZ who finds him instead. And it's felps alone, dropping a smoke now, and he's Is he going to walk through it? He will try to and die absolutely instantly. 4-4. Both teams not really getting a big lead over each other. Immortals going to go for the force bite. Weapons will be spread out. This was a lovely shot, and we saw it initially, I think, from Henny's point of view. And it's just a really tricky area, those boxes now, because you can go either side of them as well as jumping over the top. So there's much more freedom for the Ts, and life is indeed very difficult for the CT AWPers now.
The funny thing as well is there is additional depth to Luminosity's play on the outside, because sometimes they smoke the catwalk. They put the third smoke on the catwalk. And in one of the rounds in which they did that, we could see that they actually pushed through that smoke with 2 players. Immortals can't necessarily even know when that's actually coming. And that round they left it open as they were pushing outside. And Immortals, when they see the smokes, they don't know if they're even pushing outside or not, or with how many players. And so someone came up, in the opening, and they got shot immediately by SHOOWTiME. They set that was like a piece that was kind of set up by the grenades in many respects. Like they expected the play to happen, or they were anticipating it based on their own grenades. So you can see that there is a lot of thought going into Luminosity's their nuke match right now, and it is so far been one of the more entertaining, or most entertaining nukes that I've seen. And we're only 9 rounds into it so far. And speaking of nades on the outside, here we go again.
I love that LG are doing this every single round. Astana Dragon style, who remembers them? Used to smoke outside every single round, no matter what they were doing. So this time it's the buy round, fast split into the A bomb site. So far so good. Steele and Lucas go down, and we see someone making their way towards main. Maybe that was felps. He's gone down as well. Henry on the high ground has a lot of work to do here. PKL maybe going for the peak, and Henry will see none of it. boltz $800, forced to save.
Man, this is another round where, you see additional depth to the approach from Luminosity, because as I mentioned, and as James mentioned, you see the wall of smokes again, but they've already run so many different plays, and so far they've never run an explosion play through the smokes into the old classic A split. We've seen those smokes with a different A split.
They did it on the eco, but not on the buy round.
Right, okay, and the eco was kind of shut down. It's probably something that Immortals didn't really think about, because it's just some pistols, not all the utility. But that round, it worked out perfectly. It was a pace that Immortals were not expecting. And so, I mean, this looks so clean on the entry. It's just so beautiful to see. They catch every CT out of position in a sense that they are able to flank them, split onto them effectively. And the CTs were not able to see the play coming soon enough to get grenades down to stop the Ts from splitting the defense.
Yeah, and that's really scary for the CT side, because they have no idea what to expect from Immortals, from Luminosity rather, when those smokes are down. And also in terms of timing, some slow plays, some fast plays. They don't know if they're going slow towards secret or fast towards main, which is going to it's going to force them to use utility quickly when they have it, such as getting those Molotovs towards Squeaky and towards Hut at the beginning of a round, like people used to do back in the day in the old map. And if they go for the buy in this round, Immortals, look at their money. They're not going to have money to buy Molotovs. Molotovs are $600 on the CT side compared to the $400 on the T side. Much more expensive for the CTs because of the map control. It can afford them. So again, if they want to do that early, it's going to cost them money, but also it's going to expend their utility.
And it's funny now because Immortals take the tactical timeout for 90 seconds, and it's funny to me because the story of this matchup so far, if we look at the way this game's going, it's always been in Luminosity's hands, except one time when you see the most godlike Deagle ace, 1 versus 5 from felps. That was one of the rounds Immortals got, but then that actually enabled Immortals to completely reset Luminosity by completely defeating Luminosity's buy rounds. So generally speaking, Immortals haven't really had an answer as soon as Luminosity's economy really started to get going. So it's very interesting, actually. How do you take the approach against Luminosity? Because on this map, unlike a lot of maps like Cobblestone and Train, you can be quite creative and you can get ahead of the T plays, but there's just not many teams like Luminosity that I've seen who are actually able to use their smokes and in a way where it actually has a point. We see a lot of teams saying, okay, got to get the smokes outside, and that can cover us down secret and so on. But Luminosity have found like 3 or 4 variations of how to play the round based off of those 2 smokes, and sometimes they put the extra smoke in there as well. Immortals are always guessing.
The unpause has been called, and there it is. Freeze time pause has been cancelled. So indeed, Immortals are going for the force buy, and because they had 4 to 44,100, only Steele has a Molotov. Everybody else just smokes and flashes a HE on Lucas. So, as expected, they don't have the utility, and indeed, because of that previous play, you see the Molotov flying in. Doesn't go in the right place necessarily. It'll do the job, but exactly. That's the reaction that you expect from Immortals, but also that's great for Luminosity. What little utility you have, you're going to have to spend some of it immediately out of fear.
And this is the thing too, because now you have to understand as well. Okay, Luminosity, they're a team that are reading the opponent's economy. They have a lot of rounds, and they're going to try to show us now what they think out of all their plays, which they've shown us many from their Nuke playbook so far, which they think is the most appropriate against rifles with low utility. And that's an and also in the context of the pace of the matchup. Looks like they're going to go actually down secret now as a bulk of players. They haven't really been doing this too often, and it's going to give them 2 kills immediately by just having the numbers there.
Yeah, the second kill was, I think, desperation spray from Lucas through main, but they just looked at the tracers and shot him straight back. So down he went. Big advantages for Luminosity. boltz gets a pick on SHZ elsewhere, but the team can use that information to try and take him down. You see Destiny just looking for a player who is peeking, and he'll get smoked off. Triple Molotovs, okay, to get the bomb down. So Luminosity are drilled like an episode of Home Improvement at the moment. Still stuck on the ramp. Where are his team though? boltz is in the vents, and Hen1 is coming in from secret. He may catch SHOOWTiME off guard. SHOOWTiME's creeping though. He's creeping and crouching, and so is his teammate Yell. Although they're not in a position to trade with each other, but surprise! Bullets in the face, and boltz has been spotted now as well. Yell's go for the duel, but this time he's got SHOOWTiME there to help him out. This is glorious by Luminosity.
Yeah, they are doing such a great job, and sometimes it's, I mean, it's like we're, you know, at least I feel like I'm not talking about Immortals much, because for me, I'm just very impressed by what Luminosity are bringing to the table, and it really does show that they didn't land on Nuke as their pick by any accident or because of any weakness of map pool. In fact, they've had a lot of preparation here, so it's very curious to see how they interpret what is their best response to certain rounds on the T side. And they're against an eco now, and there's some specific and very optimal anti-ecos that we haven't yet seen them run, where you take control of the outer catwalk, but maybe they have a different interpretation which is also effective. We'll have to wait and see now, as they played passively at the beginning, as you tend to see in the opening against any ecoing team, just to make sure that they aren't going to catch you with sneaky, fast aggression.
Hen1 making his way towards secret. Everybody, apart from Lucas and boltz, just holding angles at the moment, looking for the one taps. Lucas and boltz making their way towards heaven, gambling on an A play, perhaps. boltz will hold the off angle by the bridge on the high ground, and then Lucas and I think Steel's there as well on the A site. Oh, that's a nice pick from Henry. He needs to get out there as well. Doesn't need to hold that angle any longer, because the team will be trained on the trade frag. So if he doesn't give it to them, then Immortals can use their numbers advantage elsewhere. felps may be stuck outside for a while though. A smoke could actually help him escape this position. So 40 seconds and Luminosity have to start to get worried. They haven't got a single frag.
Yeah, from Luminosity's perspective, this has been actually the biggest struggle for them is when the opponents just have pistols so far in this matchup. And you can see they tried to get control of the outer catwalk, but they didn't really do it with enough men. There's too many positions to worry about, and it seemed like to be a bit of a gamble in praying that there's no CTs outside. But there is. felps, yet again, causing problems here for Luminosity. They just have 2 men left at this point, 15 seconds. And I suppose the anti-eco here from Luminosity has not been all that impressive, James, despite the rest of their rounds on the buys.
It might sound completely insane, and probably does to most people, but I would have, like, if I was a coach in that position, I would have probably called him to save, because the map is so, like, in that situation they are colossally screwed, put it that way. So I think, well, actually they have a buy anyway, so it would depend on the money. If they didn't have money for a buy, if they lost a round, then I think there's an argument at least for a save against an ecoing CT side in that situation. With all things considered, the time left, so on and so forth. But here they are. They have gone all in at Luminosity. Complete change of approach. Double ops on the T side of Nuke.
Yeah, it's a very interesting approach indeed. And again, it will be quite strong if they're able to find clean angles, the clean long-range angles. If there's CD setups outside. felps has frequently been playing around main and garage and also around secret, so those are all areas of concern for any player of Luminosity who's looking over at the outside. But the push comes in, the picking attempt. Trying to lead with the AWPer, I think, there. Yeah, but he couldn't land the shot on boltz. That was his job, to land the shot on boltz. boltz deflects the attack right now, but maybe there are more attacks to be had. They will back away for now, though.
Smokes outside will presumably thrown by the T side will make the the AWPs, less effective. SHOOWTiME getting a trade for his team though. Double AWPs on the T side, such a curious play from Luminosity, and very curious to see how this will eventually play out. 2 AWPs still in play, but again that kind of limits how fast they can move into a site. And look at the setup from the 3 CTs. How do you deal with this with 2 AWPs in tow? Trades again, but it's the AWPs who are trading, so the AKs are running out. I think that's even scarier. Henny has found himself a very nice angle here. SHOOWTiME in the red, so is Destiny, and this is surely going to collapse for Luminosity. Down to a 3 versus 1. I mean, for me, I just don't know how... I think 2 AWPs on a T side is madness to me.
I think I understand what they're trying to do there, because I think the way that they read the situation is that they are expecting Immortals to have such a poor economy that they can't afford AWPs themselves. And by buying 2 AWPs, Immortals... they get the opportunity to try to pick Immortals, both by leading into the pick from ramp, which is a favorable engagement from the AWPer's perspective. Obviously, if you have to gamble a little bit, but you should be favorable on the pixel angles, and on outside as well, AWP is often quite good. So I think that they're just trying to see if they can get a pick either side, and then play the mid round. But they just couldn't get the pick on either side. So, but I think that was their thinking.
I think it's crazy.
I think it's awesome because they're willing to try. Like to read specifically, if that's what I'm thinking is correct. And
I think you're crazy as well. But that was before this match started.
Right, that's fair. I am absolutely nuts.
I think I'm probably with you there. We have parity. Let's see if this bomb can go down for Luminosity. Destiny with his AK. The rest of them just on the pistols. The Deagles, the P250s. A man down for both sides. What is the post-plant going to be like here for Luminosity? Second last round of the half. He'll get a double tap. Indeed, he will. Playing the piano on Steel's face. Henny goes down at the same time. 4 versus 2. Luminosity looking to steal a round straight back from the CT side. No trade coming in though for felps. He gets himself a quick 2K, make it 3, and that is the round firmly back in Immortals' favor.
Yeah, they've done a good job here responding to a lot of Luminosity's plays. And one of the reasons why I think it's kind of cool for Luminosity, because normally I think the double AWP is not a good approach, but I think with the way that they like to play the game, I think they like to pick the specialist rounds. Like, we want to specifically deal with this, and they're going to kind of gamble that on what they think the other team's going to do, like basically the reads of the other team. And to some extent, you know, what you're saying about the domestic matchup, there is some small part of that which could also inform those decisions for them. So I like that they have the structure to be able to do that, but it is usually madness. I would agree.
Okay, so we got...
Go ahead.
felps in main and Hen 1 outside. It's a curious smoke around that box. That box used to be the friend of the CTs. Isn't really the friend anymore. I used to really enjoy on the old Nuke, holding an angle in warehouse on top of that box, waiting for a jumping T to see where people are and then just shooting him straight in the jaw. Hen 1 with these sneaky angles. 2 kills. This should shut down the round, but on a map such as Nuke, maybe it won't. felps going down elsewhere.
That was a perfect counter, and one to stand there, because they were trying to run their A split again with running 2 guys on the outer catwalk, and Hen 1 basically had the counter position, like an AWP in that off angle. There's just literally, you can't trade that. You cannot trade frag Hen 1 there. If you run there, that's it. The opportunity cost though is that if they don't run that round, Hen 1 doesn't really have much effect in the early to mid round, but the gamble paid off in that situation. So now it just comes down to, as you say, the 3 versus 4. There is a chance, but the positioning here, very strong from Steel. Looks like he's going to shut the round down. 8-7, actually a pretty decent scoreline for Immortals. All things considered, it did take felps going absolutely ham. Without felps, they are not getting rounds, I think.
Yeah, he's got 20 frags, but I mean, even with the 5 in that one Deagle round, that still leaves him with 15 frags, which is far ahead of any of his teammates. So felps indeed going nuclear for his side to get them those rounds on the board and keep the score extremely close. So very curious to see what Immortals are going to have to offer. They've gone 5 Kevlars, which surely is going to be a ramp rush or an A rush from them. Luminosity, 4 Kevlars as well. Just yell with the smoke and a diffuse kit. And indeed, it seems they are headed towards the ramp in the numbers. Seeing this as a weak point for Luminosity, who seem to stack to the A side. They've got 2 on the high ground. That may mean a fastish rotation, round back towards the ramp at the very least. Yell on the low ground there, inside A, and here we go. The numbers game for Immortals towards the ramp.
And Destiny playing the classic decision there. You get the information, you don't try to get frags ready, you just hold lower. And he still has a flanking position. Obviously, SHOOWTiME has to hold this down, but he's... Oh, the knife comes out. That's some good money. A small consolation, though, because what if the round is lost? The numbers still pushing forwards. However, numbers being maintained by the CTs. So Luminosity doing a good job. A triple face towards main. They are a step ahead of Immortals at the moment, but it all comes down to shots on a pistol round.
That's a nice frag, and the rest of them stuck in the choke point. That's a chance for the bomb to go down if Immortals want to commit, but he's got a man disadvantage. boltz trying to use the high ground, shooting really fast, needs to slow down a bit. There we go. Headshot onto PKL. Where are the last two players? Now everything's going back in favor of Immortals. Destiny has 1 HP, and he's got to find 2 players, showing us his knife. But it's time for the guns to come out. And he can do this. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
That 1 HP, though, pretty rough. And Immortals take the pistol round. But, you know, Luminosity, they played it really well. The issue here is SHOOWTiME not being able to get more done from the... Or basically, for them not to be able to abuse the fact that Immortals are coming out that choke point. Once Immortals win that choke point battle, I think it definitely does often swing into their favor. But I think Luminosity played it perfectly. They adjusted their positioning, communicated, set up around it, and now they're down to the forced buy. They've committed to the force buy just as heavily as Immortals did, but I doubt we'll see the Deagle shenanigans as we did from felps.
SHOOWTiME doesn't want to get tagged too much in this position, especially as unbeknownst to him, there is a team moving underneath him. It's really horrible when you go for a duel and you're shooting through a metal pole. It totally sucks for all involved, which is why it's really good that they made those adjustments to the forklift on Cash, because that was a very frustrating piece of machinery to duel with. Players still spotting for Immortals. Steel's made his way towards B. No bomb for him, though. That's a big frag. That may speed things up from the secret position. felps is still there for the time being. And Immortals, just a man advantage. Those CZs are very dangerous, especially on a map such as Nuke or a map like Train. Very difficult to deal with without getting wrecked. SH said, spot some information. felps goes down at the very same time. And this is now anyone's, but you might have to favor the CTs with time on the clock.
Yeah, down to SH set again. Oh, has to get himself out of dodge there. Positioning not too favorable. Hen1 uses the time, he waits. They're going to try to take the fight to SH. They have to get the bomb. SH knows it. Can he get the dinks in? That's some good damage. Oh my god, SH said he's got a chance. He's got a chance. Oh, the bullets, they're all out. And he's going to get taken down by Steel. Very unfortunate. Somehow he made that doable. If only there was a couple more bullets in that clip.
You could see he was really trying to get around the corner into main, but then the tagging as well slowed him down. But then Steel also ran out of bullets and had to whip out the Glock. So that was mad awkward for both involved. A bit of a sweaty moment for them. Tense. Immortals now with a 3-round lead. Luminosity continue on their ecos and force buys. This time it's the eco. We'll see if Immortals can have a better time of it. Again, the numbers game towards A. See if Immortals have good timing to move in there if that's what they choose to do. MP7 close towards the hut position. felps on the low ground with the AK. No one to trade him. And there it goes. AK's been picked up, just the one man down for both sides, but we'll see if Luminosity can get any more value out of that AK.
Yeah, save is also always possible for the CTs if you can keep it alive, but probably trying to get damage in because they are going to be on the buy in the following rounds anyway is more valuable. Even if your engagements will be less favorable, there's definitely more value to get out of the AK in trying to take that engagement, so I think for sure. And so we'll see whether SHZ can actually find his way onto those. Immortals are taking their time. They are a team that aren't too shy at using the clock. And Hen1 is going to be able to take down Yell. And now perhaps things get easier. Indeed, the dominoes start to fall. And Immortals' comfort starts to rise.
35 seconds remain. And indeed, it might be a save time for SHZ. Can he make his way towards T-spawn? Oh, dare he peek? boltz is lurking by red, and I don't think this AK is going to make it into the next round. No! It will be denied. 4 rounds now for Immortals. Can they take this over the line? At this point, from what we've seen on the T side, I don't know if you could call it an upset victory because Immortals have shown us really fun stuff on the T side, but now it's, sorry, Luminosity have, but now it's Immortals' time to do the same. So they have an opportunity to show us how proficient they might be on this map. Luminosity, somewhat lacking in utility, might take a gamble and get aggressive. Could be a risk since they have no money, and that could take Immortals over the line. So decisions to be made by Luminosity. How brave are they feeling?
Yeah, they definitely need some bravery with no utility, that's for sure. But Immortals as well, again, you know, what kind of rounds are we going to see from them? What kind of pace? They often do like to defer to a slower pace. I'm sure Luminosity's will be more than familiar. Immortals just lying in wait on the outside. Luminosity not pushing though, which I think is really good because on a map like Nuke, you don't have the inherent disadvantages as you do on many other maps as the CTs when you have no utility. On Nuke, you can play like the pistol round where you play for information, you play safe positions, and you allow the Ts into certain space, you just always create perimeters around it. You always have a threat of a flank. So you don't have to push, you don't have to mitigate your disadvantage like that, but starting things off like that and with PKL in the smoke, things for Luminosity look bright.
Lucas could be spotted if PKL goes for the wide peak. Not sure if he wants to, though. 35 seconds left with a man at disadvantage. The percentages are getting lower and lower for Immortals in this particular round. Still firm grip of the A site. Henry rotating towards the hut, and Lucas is just focused on main, so... Oh, Felps. He's got himself into a bottom position. Just the one kill for him, though. Down goes Lucas. Down goes the bomb towards main, and that is the round shut down. Luminosity coming straight back. Only losing 2 players, picking up an AWP as well. That is a juicy bonus for them.
Yeah, I forget which player was on main there for Luminosity, but it was... actually, no, was it... who was it? I don't know. Anyway, the player on main, he reacted really fast because as soon as SHOOWTiME gets that kill, boom, the push comes in from Immortals immediately due to that frag. That was the essentially the spark that ignited the push, and Luminosity now, they have full utility to play with. And you can see that Immortals, they struggle much more in the position where they have to force the early, or where they have to make the play to try to get map control or the early advantage. They find that more difficult, and their skill definitely is something that can help bail them out of those situations. And by Luminosity with no utility, just waiting, Immortals were forced to make a play, and Luminosity found more advantages than they did disadvantages in that.
And he, I think, has just deployed a smoke grenade into the A site. There are 3 people there with, 2 people with Yell potential to rotate, and indeed he is doing that. So he's been drawn in. But what is your next move, Immortals? They've got a smoke around towards main. It seems to be working out now, and they're closing the distance. Just as Yell looks away, he would have had lots of information for his team, but SHOOWTiME is delivering once again on the A site. PKL coming in for support. Lovely spray onto boltz. He's going to be traded. Down goes SMD as well. 3 versus 1, though. And Luminosity will prevail once more. AWP still in tow, so everything looks all good in the hood for the Brazilians on the CT side. 2 rounds between these 2 sides, but Immortals are on the eco.
Yeah, it's become quite an interesting matchup because, again, one of the reasons why Nuke could potentially be a good specialist map is just because of the sheer amount of options for both teams, as opposed to a map like Cobblestone, whereby you do or die based on your T side and your T side performances. And of course, there's a lot you can do with that, but there's not as nearly as much options as the CTs. And here we can see Luminosity's understanding of the CT side, helping them out a little bit. They don't just have to wait and see what happens. But that actually has been a good approach so far against Immortals specifically. And we can't expect too much. No Kevlar, no utility from Immortals. How do they get the bomb down? How do they get frags? They're closing the distance, so that could help.
I don't know if SH said got any sound cues from his opponent there. PKL looking out. Could be a timing thing. Could be a sound cue thing. 2 players towards... Oh, no. Henny's in the secret area, and Felps is towards the red at the moment. Being spotted now. Oh, dear. Ding dong. PKL gets taken down. That gun is not retrievable for the time being. Now the numbers game comes in towards the ramp. Destiny can raise the alarm. He's got a player in for support, which is Yell. Misses another shot, though, or no facial connection at least. May have legged Steel, who eventually goes down. But now the B bomb site is open in the hands of Immortals. Can the bomb go down?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Destiny's engagement was like there, because he got killed by a Glock, and so that should not have been able to happen. He shouldn't have been in a position where that could have happened, but it has happened. It's allowed a bomb plant, it's allowed M1 into an M4 pickup, and now Luminosity, they got to go for the retake. They could lose more men here. They should be able to win the round, but they could certainly lose more men, and that is definitely not something that they want to see in a round like this. They needed to get this round clean. It was their opportunity for that. And one with the next frag onto Yell. Things getting a little bit troublesome. Another frag, and they're going to win the round. Very unfortunate. It's interesting, actually, because both players, their play was to go for Hen 1 there, as opposed to going for the player in control room. And the interesting thing about that is you can see that Hen 1 can force one-on-ones, whereas if they try to, it's much easier to trade the guy in the control room than it is Henny. Henny you can force out by tapping onto the bomb and then guessing the right or left. So it's an interesting choice there. It didn't work out for Luminosity. 12-9, and Immortals win a very, very, very important round. That might send them all the way to 14 rounds.
The CZs again, the P250s. Just the one CZ, in fact, not even plural. And that's a significant difference. I mean, yes, the P250 can also one-tap around these corners, but the CZ with its automatic fire is so much more dangerous because of that, because of those statistics. Well, statistics, because it's an automatic firing gun. What am I talking about? If I'm not mistaken now, the stats are the same as the P250 on the bullets and such. SHOOWTiME.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Good start, down to 26 HP. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So felps, there are no UMPs, no MAC-10s on Immortals, so now felps is at risk of giving up an AK. But he's continuing to be the man to push in. Go for the peaks. Ooh, Henny has a lovely angle towards Secret. He was standing on the red box, jump down now, and you can see there are two CTs just lurking, and now there's a big chance that Henny's going to get taken down in a trade. Can't turn around fast enough, and Immortals, perhaps, they're a bit, well, I was going to say too far spread out, but there's one player in A now, two on the heaven position, but the bomb is exposed, and now boltz getting taken back from the back, taken down from the back. It's all falling apart for Immortals. They just need to get the bomb down. Lucas has got a Molotov. I think he's too afraid to get it out, though, in case he gets caught with a Molotov in his hand instead of a gun, but that will lead to his demise regardless. Now felps is the last man, and indeed this round is going to go to timeout.
What a weird situation. Oh my god. He didn't want to take the shot for risk of, initially for risk of dying, but after time, but almost happened anyway. That was a bit awkward, but felps brings himself up to 27 kills, and a really unlikely round won by Immortals there. Was not expecting that. And now things get interesting again. I actually thought that was kind of, okay, you know, I thought Luminosity were done, but somehow they win that. So they get the opportunity now to crush Immortals' economy and force them to ecos and then tie things up. So it's anyone's at this point now.
So many corners, so many boxes, objects around the map. No way into a site or even to get good vision of a site without risk. So Nuke seems to be one of the trickier maps for an anti-eco. PKL throws the stolen AWP towards Yell, but boltz still has one of his own. Everybody with armor that remains on Immortals. Henny taken down early. Bomb still in control though of Immortals, but they've got just the one smoke now and a flash here and there, so felps having to shoulder peek to try and get information, and he may have been seen by Yell there, I'm not sure. Look close on the radar. So maybe something has been called. Lovely shot onto Destiny. That may pull CTs away from A.
Yeah, the 4 versus 4 is really interesting. I believe on this map, personally, that the CTs are still an advantage, unlike other maps, and now it gets even more in advantage of Luminosity. Flick shot missed by Yell. Unfortunate, but still, again, man advantage. They got the information that the T's are going below, although Yell is actually working his way back to garage there, so maybe working on the flank with the AWP. I'm not sure exactly. But the bomb's going to go down in a very exposed position. It feels like Luminosity could have more players in position at the moment. 2 is definitely going to be good, though. Nice pick off from SHOOWTiME. It's going to be tough now for Immortals to stop this retake, but boltz is in that money position. Uh-oh, can't afford to miss that one. And Luminosity will close things down. It's not an honest plant, James.
Who's it going to go to, Dan? It's a difficult one to call, although I'm curious to see the team money. So, yeah, that sucks. This is très difficile, Dan.
I feel like Luminosity are going to win this, but that's me.
Well, I mean, this Immortals should be ecoing here, meaning that Immortals are going to... It should be 12-12, basically, with Immortals back on the buy. And at that point, I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea.
I mean,
just like the beginning of this game, Dan. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's the interesting thing actually about the first half for me is that I feel like Luminosity are probably getting more rounds a lot of the time. But if you imagine all the clutches we saw out of Immortals, like all the insane rounds, like the round that Phelps won with the Deagle is so insane because of the timing of when he won that round. It was the spot where basically Luminosity start building economy and having that good start that you get from winning the pistol. And I think that was the third round as well. And some damage had been done in the previous round. So that is just an insane round to win. And that allows Immortals, allowed them to get like 4 rounds on the board like fairly quickly. So Luminosity, they didn't get a lot of chance to run with good economy. A lot of the plays that they wanted to. But generally speaking, still, you know, I feel like Luminosity are going to be able to edge this one out just with some better nuke play on the CT side. But as you said, you never know. Immortals are a bit more clutch, I think, and they have a bit more, and they have more individual skill. And I think that's why it's an interesting one for me, because you get those two opposites. I feel like Luminosity have a better nuke game, but Immortals are better counter strikers.
I think it's at least in these early stages of nuke. Perhaps, I mean, I wonder what the level of risk is for, or even freedom for the CT side to be aggressive. Like you see on Cobblestone, it's hard. We talk about that. It's hard for them to get information, and they're pretty much at the mercy of what the Ts want to do. I don't know how much there is for the CT side to do. I mean, it depends. If they have a read that most of the T sides are going to be outside, and there might be a hole in the defense inside, like one person going towards main or something. I mean, ramp. Then maybe it's something they can do. But that aside, seems they're going to be passive for the most part and far away, just as Yell is once these smokes go down.
Yeah, one reason why I like Nuke is that it has a very different dynamic to a lot of maps. The CTs actually have such strength in rotation that they don't have to take as many aggressions to get back in things as you would on other maps, just because everything's happening in the center of the map. So they can control rotations, they can control information, they can control choke points to maneuver the Ts into favorable positions for their own engagements. And so that's why I'd like Nuke, and why I feel like not enough teams are really playing it at the moment, or trying to get really good on it again. But yeah, if Luminosity can play to those strengths, and they have, especially in the rounds where they have low utility, they should be able to see more mistakes out of their opponent than their own selves for them to capitalize on.
These grenades are wasting so much time for Immortals. Oh, yeah, that timing has got to be brutal. Gets a kill regardless, though, but still, that must be annoying. Lucas and Henny trying to do the gauntlet run. It's only boltz who has Kevlar in the situation. Henny's been spotted now, maybe trying to pick up something on the floor, and it will be them left on the floor. boltz, what you going to do? He kind of has to die in this situation because he only got $900 in the hole, so his Kevlar is essentially worthless going forward. Seeing if he can do any damage, but the crossfire is real from LG. And indeed, it is 12-12. Importantly, Luminosity didn't lose a single person this time.
I do wonder why CT sides, many CT sides that I've seen, they leave control room open for the Ts to take, because I feel like it's such a strong position. Maybe it's just because of the new door on the left side now, or the left side coming from Secret, that is. Maybe that's the reason why teams are doing it, but at the same time, I'd still rather have control room.
I think its strength is mostly in post-plant positions, and it's still difficult for them to get onto the site if the CTs have the other side of vents and the ramp. So I guess it depends ultimately on who controls what in total. Number of players outside for Immortals, and again, that's that smoke somewhere towards A. I'm not sure if that one is towards the balcony or not. I haven't done my studies for Nuke just yet. Minute 10 on the clock. It's all quiet on Nuke. Felps in a nice position though. PKL, you can see him just going for the shoulder picking. They're just going for the information. CTs, this is an important map for them to change their formation. Ooh, I hear the breaking of glass down.
Yeah, is there a setup here for Immortals? A set piece, set grenades. Henny has some. It seems like Hen won. Can't see whether that Molotov went though. I don't think it went anywhere, James. I'm not sure if it just completely missed or if it's not displaying from GoTV. Either way, Luminosity will easily dispatch this push. And again, this is something that I was talking about before. You can see that Immortals are not as comfortable in rounds on the T side where they have to force the action. So if Luminosity play passively and just try to keep tabs on the info and play the rotations, that is a strength of the CT side almost uniquely on this map, then Immortals are forced to try to make something work in which they aren't necessarily having an inherent strength on, which is those set pieces or whatever. And you can see Luminosity here. They have everything under control. They've got everyone in position. You can see SHOOWTiME doesn't even have to do anything here. Destiny has a great position. He's got the information that his back is more or less safe as well. So it's an easy cleanup. So if Luminosity keep playing that passive setup and play disciplined, I think this should be pretty good for them. But we'll see.
I'm guessing that the Molotov was probably for the hut roof, and/or the bridge, because that's where they got wrecked from. So that must have been a hole that was supposed to be plugged, but indeed it was a hole that turned into a whirlpool and sucked them in. That was always like my fear of things that I watched as a kid. You know, when like someone's trapped in like some kind of whirlpool or a sinking, quicksand.
Like in Return of the Jedi?
Those two things were just like...
With the sand monster?
Possibly. I don't recall too much, but my memory sucks. But those two things were somewhat scary. Let's see what Immortals can do in this round. The bomb can be collected towards the ramp. Ooh, they picked up a second player there. Destiny going for a Smith-style CT spawn hold on Nuke. That was quite fun to watch on a G2 when they played Nuke earlier this week. Now we have Steel, the last man standing. 40 seconds, not all the time in the world to try and get some more pickoffs. He could go towards the vent and face in case there was a CT behind it waiting for a plant, but no, he's just going to go for the hero plant play. CTs might wait to all bunch together. So Steel's just going to stand there, going to bide his time. I think no wrong decision, but you might favor a push somewhere to get yourself a 1 versus 1 before all the CTs come in at the same time. Another round in the bag for Luminosity. It seems the ship may have righted itself.
Yeah, I think so. I think generally overall, I think their approach is good. I like it. It's good it's good Nuke basics, I think, and they're not overcomplicating things. And one thing as well you see with CT sides, especially in the new Nuke, with a lot of teams, is they get overly aggressive, and they get overly aggressive and push lobby and stuff or whatever, or outside pushes in spots, and they take one-on-ones outside as well, by the way. And these are in spots where they haven't tested proper passive setups, which again place the inherent strengths of how you can control information or how you get information and how you can play rotations as the CTs around it, and that's like that's what you want. That's your starting point on Nuke. That's always your starting point before you need to go to some of the more risky plays. But again, I don't see enough teams doing that. But right now, Luminosity, they are doing that. You can see they're just very tight. They're giving up outside, keeping tabs on what's going on as much as they can, making the adjustments to their positioning. That said, they don't have anybody playing secret who can stop these players or slow them down from getting control room or get the information necessarily. So that's a problem, I think, right now for Luminosity. We'll see how they deal with it.
Destiny's just moved into the control room through B. Immortals use a lot of utility to get to this position, but they're not really advancing too far beyond it at the moment, trying to come in from the back. The thing is, felps can get up here, but once he tries to jump onto the rail, he will guaranteed make a noise, and doesn't seem he even knows how to jump on that properly. In the meantime, the bomb's been lost, collected, lost again.
Oh, look, James, they're in the control room, and they're getting frags.
Yes.
So 1 versus 2 for boltz as he makes his way forwards. That bomb stuck in the control room at the bottom of the steps, and all the sound cues are there. He has to go for the desperation play because there's no time. Destiny had a hell of a round with the quad kill. And again, tabs on the information. They adjust their positioning. They play a 2-man setup on the control room. And this is the thing, they leave vents open, but that's okay because they have the information, and their teammates on the upper bomb site can alter their positions to understand how to deal with that.
Immortals, do you have anything left in the tank? Or are you a fish starving for oxygen in a liquidless box? What a horrible picture that paints. Trade frags coming in, the bombs down in the middle of the A site. CTs have got plays on the high and the low, and they were winning the trades, but they're going back in favor of the T's now. Yell on the high ground, colliding with the smoke. Is he willing to push through? Hen1's got the angle. Indeed, he's got the angle. Yell still going for it, but the nade will finish him off. Lying face down in a pool of his own blood. Immortals 2 rounds to get back into this. Destiny's got 12.5k, so Luminosity will have little issue buying in this round.
Unless something goes terribly wrong here for Luminosity, they should be good to go for this one. Again, their approach has been working pretty well. Been playing those basics, those fundamentals have been really helping them out. Immortals need a massive clutch now, or like massive individual play to save the day. Or maybe some of those nades that they've been missing to connect, and that's a nice individual play. boltz with the sidestep to the takedown of Yell. He's out of the picture for now. 5 versus 4, and the pace is really sped up here.
And it seems to be working. They're in the site. It's a 3 versus 3. SHOOWTiME on the low ground and PKL on the high. That's going to work out so far, but SHOOWTiME's heavily tagged and he's vulnerable. Although he's got more support from Destiny. Down to the 1 versus 1 again, and Destiny's going to take it straight in the face, Dan. Now there's just the 1 round, so the fast play working out for Immortals, but how long will that work for? Will they go to it again?
Yes, it's definitely the needed mix-up. And the other thing about it as well is that it does... It's kind of like... It reminds me of Cobblestone a little bit, where you roll the dice ever so slightly. Well, you do roll the dice, and you're like, okay, there's going to be a lot of chaos here. And it really counts... Or rather, it really requires us to hit those entry frags, or get that first entry frag, to and get that quick wrap to completely destabilize the positioning of the CTs, and then get the advantage and the better engagements that way, and then win the round. And that's kind of what Immortals had there. They had such a good speed into that push, and Luminosity, I don't think we're expecting that pace, because it's not something you normally see, or they have not seen in the context of this matchup so far, really, all that much. So, perfect timing for that play. And as you know, to your question, do they do it again? I have no idea. Who knows? Who knows, James? I mean, you might imagine that they would run the gamble again, because they haven't really found consistent success in anything. Otherwise,
that's true. There's in that sense, there's little reason to do anything else other than what's been working for you.
Yeah, and then you have to worry about the
if you second guess yourself and say, oh look, we've done it so dead fast now, they might expect it, and then do it slow when slow hasn't worked for you. But even then, if that doesn't work when you go slow and you've experienced nothing but success, even in a small sample size, that's the kind of stuff that requires the psychological coach, Dan. So you don't crush yourself mentally and argue amongst your team. Luminosity with a crap buy. SHOOWTiME's got just a 5-7. They've got next to no utility either. 2 Molotovs being deployed by the CT side, presumably towards Hut and the Squeaky Door. So indeed, it is going to be a slower approach. But in these 10 seconds or so, they've already exhausted pretty much all of the LG utility.
Yeah, they threw half their utility just because of the paranoia of the rush again. And the rush is like actually a really good play as well against what Luminosity have, because Luminosity, they don't have a good ability to survive a rush without those grenades. And being overwhelmed, I think, is a strength of Immortals with their individual plays that have been so good. This is interesting, though. I mean, Luminosity, they get the opening pick here, and speaking of a lack of utility, now Immortals themselves don't have too much. Still 2 smokes for Luminosity, so Immortals might be thinking of making the play soon. Big setup here on the upper bomb site for Luminosity. This position from SHZ, I haven't really seen this used very much. That's kind of a cool position. Yeah,
but there might be lots of clanging to be had, although he does have the first gap that Lucas might just crab walk into. This would be quite the recoil control if he just gets all the bullets through that tiny gap. Does he spot the head of Lucas? Spots the head of boltz, and there it goes. Still now, and another player, Henny, in a 4 versus 2. Both separated as well. Still going for the hero plant, but again, Henny maybe can come in for a flank or of some description. Still has a lot of flashbangs. He could bounce them off. Reposition though. I think if the door's still open, then he could bounce them into the site. I don't know how helpful that would be. Henny still with the Tech 9, no grenades of his own. 4 versus 2. Can he get a 2-man spray down? No, but Henny's still alive. He's got himself a kill as well. And now he's got himself a FAMAS. The bomb's not planted for him, but there's no kit on these CTs. Oh my god, are we going to see 10-second defuse? Is it going to be a 10-second defuse? Henny doesn't have the angle, he's too afraid to go for it.
Oh my goodness.
Man, the hero defuse. I can be your hero, baby.
That's
16
quite cool.
to 14, 10-second defuse.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a weird situation, isn't it? Because it's like the decision making for Henny there is, or Hen 1 is just really tough, because do you go for it? Like, when do you go for it? He has no idea if they have a kit or not. So
you pick A or you pick B, right?
Yeah,
it's just like, there you go.
I think
so you've got 2 boxes. One has a snake in, one has a key in to, I don't know, to leave the room.
To kill the snake.
And it's like,
kill the snake with the key.
Do you pick box A or do you pick box B? Sometimes you'll be right, sometimes you'll be wrong. Such is life.
Yeah, I guess it's that situation where, like, the play that he makes looks like genius if it works, but if it doesn't, he looks really silly.
I wouldn't say, I mean, people can call it silly, but really neither play is wrong. Sometimes you'll just pick the one that, you know, loses you the round.
All right, well, either way, it's time for a quick break, and then we'll be back very shortly with some analysis.